Hey folks, it's me again, Dr. Mike for Renaissance Periodization, and it turns out you have to do the big three, squat, bench, and deadlift to get maximum hypertrophy. Oh wait, just kidding. That's a myth. We'll talk about why it's a myth. We're going to talk about some of the good things about doing some stuff like that, some of the bad things, and then of course the real talk at the end to close it all off, put a bow on it, mail it, have someone open it, it blows up in their face, building sirens go off, smoke from whatever floor it blew up on, people screaming, children running, elevators don't work, fire alarms, water sprinklers. Jesus, what the hell are we sending? In any case, here you go. Here's the myth. This is a direct quote I've heard maybe 1,000 times. You got to do the big three for max gains. Squat, bench, and deadlift, the three core power lifts, amazing. And people who say that rarely mean for 1 rep max. They often mean for reps. At least sets of 5, sets of 10, squat, bench, and deadlift. That's the best way to get big. And if you want to get big for real, like the old school bros did it, like all the guys I know that are big, and that I'm not big, but I fetishize them and run an account where I put up pictures of big guys and DM other big guys. They do that stuff. I know they do, because I follow them physically everywhere they go. If you're going to do reps of squats, benches, and deadlifts religiously, you're going to have some good things coming your way. It's not all bad. The higher rep powerlifting moves, often in the most effective range for them is sets of 5 to 10 because they're technical and they have some limiting factors. So you get technique breakdown north of 10 reps. They're actually very good at growing muscle, generally speaking. And doing them in an intelligently planned program is actually great. So far, so good. However, there are at least 2 problems we can think of. The first problem, the big problem, is thinking you have to do them. A lot of times people will do them and put them in their program even if they don't gel with their body at all. Everything feels wrong. It makes my joints hurt. I don't feel the muscle getting hit hardly at all. I feel the wrong muscles. This is terrible, but I still have to do this because Ronnie Coleman did it or something like that. Another thing is that sometimes they work okay, but from a stimulus to fatigue ratio perspective, how much good you get out of it versus how much fatigue cost you pay. And if you're new to the channel, just Google SFR Israel or something, and it'll come up with a nice 10-minute long video explaining that in more depth if you're curious what that concept is. But basically, if something's not as stimulative for you as it could be and pretty fatiguing for how stimulative it is, it has a low stimulus to fatigue ratio compared to other exercises. Like you just get a better hit out of incline dumbbell presses, but you keep doing barbell bench presses because powerlifters are big or something like that. That's a problem because you are not using the exercises that are actually best for you in that moment in time, and you're using exercises that are not best under the assumption and presupposition that they're necessary or mandatory, and that's not true. Even if you have all of the muscles covered and you can train them hard as fuck with other variations and other lifts, sometimes you still include these lifts because you feel like you have to do them. People will say things like, well, it's not really a leg program unless you squat, which is wrong. And it pains me to say that it's wrong because I'm a religious squatting, I was going to say advocate, I don't advocate. I'm a religious squatter myself. Almost all of my workouts that are great have high bar squats. I love them. And I wish I could high bar squat all the time. It's like my favorite lift in the world, but I can't say that you have to do it. That would be wrong. And it would be wrong to do the big three thinking you have to do them. And this idea that you have to do them, even though you're jumping over tons of hurdles to do them, often results in people including squat, bench, and deadlift for reps in their program. And it ends up being that they incur a lot of needless fatigue. Their fatigue is much higher, interfering with those lifts themselves and other lifts and then your ability to grow maximum muscle. It gives you a higher injury risk because often these lifts are done very heavy and they're compound and the summative total force is very high. Your chance of getting injured with deadlifts is much higher than your chance of getting injured with pull-ups or rows or anything else you would do for your back, for example. And what they do is they displace other potentially more effective choices. So from the earlier example, if you say, well, your incline dumbbell press really does fry my pecs the best, but I do barbell presses because I have to. I can't do them both because my pecs can only recover from so much. So I'm going to do barbell presses this mesocycle, but next mesocycle, I'll do some incline dumbbell pressing. It's like, well, you should needlessly doing something that is not as effective and displacing away something that is effective. It's like, I'll make a terrible analogy. It's like You go to potentially go on a date with 2 girls and one of them is absolutely not your type and the other one's like fucking right on. If for some weird reason you feel like you have to go on both dates and the girl that's really up your alley, you're like, hey, Cynthia, listen, maybe next week or something, go get out of here. And hey, Janice, it may not be your number 1 girl. You're like, let's do this. Let's go on this date. And you're on the date and she's like, what do you think about me? You're like, you hurt my feelings to look at. But I'm doing it anyway because of reasons. And there are no good reasons why the fuck you're on the date. You need to be like, hey, Janice, here's me paying the bill. Here's me texting Cynthia. Here's me going Netflix and chill at her house. And when I get there, I do the usual thing when I meet up with girls, which is the following. And you run away because you've never been by a girl at all. In my case, definitely. And in your case, probably also, since you're a follower or viewer of this channel, you almost certainly don't get laid. I'm kidding, stay calm. But let's be honest. It's probably true. Also, I'm kidding about that. But let's be totally honest. Come on. Seriously, that was also a joke. I'll just shut up. Problem number 2. Because the big 3 have this sort of like religious annotation to them, it sort of demotes everything else and assumes an inferiority. When you say to people like, hey, I do hack squats, I do bent rows, I do incline presses, you'll get some people in some crowd be like, really? Why don't you squat with a free weight barbell, brother? Woo! Woo! And then you're in Tennessee by accident. There is a thing where hack squats, incline presses, and bent rows are in every single theoretical way just as effective to build the quads and upper pecs, overall pecs, and back as the squat, bench, and deadlift, and possibly even more effective in some cases. But if you have a must-do, the big 3 or the thing I have to do attitude, you're not going to be able to do other variants as often, and you're going to assume they're inferior for no good reason. Like every time I post a hack squat video, a motherfucker gets in the comments inevitably and goes, why not barbell squat? And if I had only one fucking superpower, it would be the ability to fucking teleport right to when he's almost done typing that comment and go Bart Simpson and Homer Simpson style, just choke him for a while. Not to the point where he passes out or even feels his life is threatened, just to teach him a goddamn lesson. You type stupid shit on your phone, you're getting choked in a fun, cooperative, friendly way. Like I used to do with my rabbi back when I was 8 years old. Real talk. There are 0 must-do exercises. Scott, the video guy, have we made a video about the myth of must-do exercises already? I feel like we have.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and if we haven't, we will. So if you can find it, find that shit. And if you can't, tell us in the comments to make it, and we'll make it either again or for the first time ever. There are no must-do exercises. You have to choose exercises that give you good or the best stimulus to fatigue ratios. Sometimes when you're not so concerned about fatigue, when you're like, say, a college student and it's over the summer and you get to eat at the dorms and train in a mostly empty gym, you're 18 years old, you're new to lifting and fatigue's not really a concern, then you choose exercise with a highest raw stimulus magnitude, just the ones that fuck you up the most. They drive the most hypertrophy, that fuck up your muscles the best. You do these exercises, the best SFR and RSM exercises, until they become stale, until they are no longer the best exercises, which you can tell through a variety of ways. Your ability to progress on them stops or stalls. Your joints start to hurt. You start to get much less excited about it. The pumps and the soreness that you get from other movements are much better now than these. You switch to another set of now the most effective exercises or just effective exercises, and you continue that cycle for forever and get all the growth that you're going to get. Often, the powerlift, squat, bench, and deadlift will make the cut, and it's totally great to include them, and then you should. But often they won't, and you don't have to feel a damn bit bad about it because there's no compelling reason to have to include the squat, bench, and deadlift in a hypertrophy plan because hypertrophy plans are always and everywhere highly individualized and highly situational. It's your choice. You can be hardcore, and yes, the quotes around that are there for a reason. Or you can get the most effective stimulus and the lowest fatigue. And with that, Captain America type motivational bullshit, I leave you for next time. Oh, but wait. Like, comment, subscribe, and do all the other TikTok things that people do on social media. See you guys next time. Bye.